I mean, they take their time, so it seems like maybe they are discussing.
Happy Christmas!
Spain.
This seems like an insane Underlord game.
There we go.
I would not want to be Slardar into Underlord.
I would not want to play the Vision lineup here though.
Yeah, this is like the Axe Rush on Underlord this game. It inhibits everyone's game.
It's also such a good hero against MP.
Yeah.
Maybe not in the lane. The lane you get bullied by the creeps, but I think in the game it just stops MP from farming the map, pushing the waves. You regain control as a global against global matchup, and you can catch him with the axe.
So what is the thought that goes behind picking the Slardar over the Underlord? Because a lot of thought went into that. We saw them thinking a long time about this, so they must have considered that.
I think the main reason here is they wanted to have the amplified damage, the corrosive haste, to kill off the lone drip bear on the lanes, and they figured that they could snowball the game, kill Roche, kill Tormentor, and play really quick. I think the idea here is they want to play an outscale against Boom Boys. It's going to not be an easy task here. I think Underlord kind of is the best hero to stop the snowball. And once you get past that stage where the Slardar can actually kill you easily, you're going to have like a superior scaling lineup against the Vision heroes.
Yeah, I do not like the Vision draft at this point, which is why I am calling it. Quote me on this. Boom Boys will beat Vision and will be the first team to do so. I
Ruined a lot of people's predictions.
yeah,
Too.
mine included. I declare.
Well, I declare that I think Vision's lineup also sucks. So they're gonna win because I am never correct. I am the worst panelist here. And I think Team Vision's draft sucks. They won. It's easy.
5 seconds left.
Oh, wait, so you're the not tiebreaker. You're the one that can decide
I'm
the
the rational one, you know.
Yeah.
I see Underlord in a game like this. I can't go against the Underlord.
So you're okay. So all three are on board, other than well, kind of Rhea is, but also isn't. So
I just feel like the supports all lack damage and it gets weird and murky in the middle.
we don't mind that. That implies that we're gonna have quite the back and forth game. I mean, in the first game and the second game, we definitely had periods where it's like, you know, especially the first game. What's gonna happen next? Well, I'll tell you what's gonna happen next. Next, we're gonna head over to Sunspan and Synderen, and we are gonna tell you all about this game number 3.
Thank you so much, Sheever. Yeah, we don't get to hear Sir Action Slack's voice before the game. A very welcome change, if you ask me. Suns fan heroist, and as we get to game number 3 between Team Vision and Boom Boys. And they're right, this could put Vision into the lower bracket, destroying every fantasy.
Testicle monsters.
Is that
We'll be
possible,
fine. Let's
Synderen? After such a great group stage, such a great start to this tournament?
I mean, we've seen this plenty of times at TI and other big tournaments throughout the years. A team that looks unbeatable in groups, you give the other teams some time to figure out during these break days how to counter them, and they come in with some fresh ideas. Maybe they've leveled up, maybe the couple of days they just got better. And for Boom Boys, regardless of how this game goes, I mean, this has been a good showing, right, overall. So definitely a team that has leveled up dramatically since we cast them earlier in the group stage.
Early D ward, by the way. That's pretty big.
Good start here for Kataomi. With everything the panel said, I feel like we cannot underestimate the potential impact of Bounty Hunter. Like this just has to be mentioned every time it's picked in these games by the teams that really master it, which in this tournament for me are Vision and Yandex. They first picked this for a reason. There were other S-tier heroes in the pool, but they're recognizing the value of this as noticed.
Getting slapped, but
okay, but I don't know if
go
the
to
call is
Khaled.
well.
He's in a lot of trouble. LSA hits, so first blood goes to. They tried to give it to Carrot and they will eventually give it to Carrot.
All right.
Good start for the Lone Druid, and we have seen Lone Druids, I mean, today especially, get off to a good start, and it's just, how do you shut this bear down? Very difficult.
Yeah, the biggest problem in this lane for the Vision side is that Bounty Hunter can't reliably pull waves because he's playing into Bane. Bane can just Nightmare you, and you're going to lose the wave. And Slardar cannot lane into Lone Druid. So this lane is very, very difficult. And I think the Bane pick, this is the main reason they chose the hero, is specifically to take that play away from 9 class. You're going to see he'll try to do it. He can pull them down. He can't go up. So he has to try to do some weird stacking. Actually, he got away with it, Kataomi. This was a bit of a mistake. He was late. This might not seem like the biggest of deals. This is a really big deal, actually, that he was late to this, because sure, the waves are going to connect again, but effectively 9class has now made a double wave for the Slarnar, who otherwise genuinely might have been unable to lane almost. Now with the creeps going into tower, this will be pushing back his way, so he'll get some experience. You're still going to lose the lane, obviously, but it's a matter of by how much.
Yeah. No, already 9class having a big impact on this game on his Bounty Hunter, the most annoying player to play against probably in the last couple of years. Of course, I'm going to say his heroes haven't been as annoying individually lately because of the patches. They've kind of patched out his Slark support, his Monkey King support, but still finding a way. And like we talked about, this is a Bounty Hunter without the Ion Shell from the Darkseer, so how much impact can he have on the laning stage? Already doing a good job.
Yeah, it feels like this should not have happened though. So yes, he did have good impact, but I think it was a bit of column A and B where Bane was late and he just went for it at the perfect angle on Bounty. But still, you are absolutely going to suffer down here. There's no doubt about that. Looking at the other lanes, mid is going to be Ember against Lina. This should be a favored lane for GPK. He's been winning against no one the previous two games. This should be another good one for him given the matchup. And up top,
is it the matchup or is it the player?
I mean, it's a bit of both. I feel like GPK has just outplayed him today, to be honest, in the laning stage. So if he does have an easier matchup, which I would argue this is, compared to at least one of the other ones he played, I am expecting GPK to just win this lane.
Here I come.
So he can snowball this time on the Lina. He played game number 1 and ended up losing despite, I want to say he started 7-0, something to that effect. But Dota Plus knew all along, Synderen. Actually, it's 3 minutes in. Can we check on Dota Plus real quick? It is the laning stage, of course.
100% for Dire.
Is this real or is this a meme at this point? My goodness.
Vitalis. Oh, they missed the arrow.
Get the double proc. Heritage in a little bit of trouble now. Notice getting the bash and getting the kill. That is a big one going the way of Vision. Of course, Satanic setting it up. So he can have presence all over the map. And of course, Boomboy's not able to take advantage in that top lane.
This move that you just saw is what's likely going to make or break the game for Vision in the first 10 minutes, is that exact play where Bounty Hunter plus 1 hero finds Lone Druid and Prophet TPs in. He's very...
Hey, getting ganked though. This would be another big kill for Vision. They get him. And this will help no one out quite a bit. I mean, he's been losing these lanes individually. But with the help from his team, not too shabby at all.
I really like the Bounty Hunter Prophet combination. Obviously, it didn't come into play in this mid move, but it did in the bottom move. Bounty can reliably scout heroes. You bring in the Prophet, you give Prophet a stun, so he can guaranteed stop TPs through the Bounty Hunter. You get to work. Now, as the panel pointed out, this is a really, really good Underlord game, though. So he can obviously start counteracting that later in the game. When Prophet goes for moves, you match them with Fiend's Gate. But we're not quite there yet, obviously. It's going to take some time. So Prophet has the advantage this early on, and that 1 kill on Heritage should inspire them to try to go for it again sometime soon. You can see 9class already heading over again. They don't have the mana for a Crush, though. He's sending out a Mango soon unnoticed.
Got the Omi, maybe looking for a Nightmare play. It is just level 3 Heritage at the moment. Still a couple of minutes away from that Wisdom Shrine, but no one pulling a wave apparently. Just not want to lane at the moment? What is this all about?
It's a decent efficiency play if you're laning into Lina, right? You can farm camp plus Great Wave. Unfortunately for him,
it's the Malrine Classic.
It's the worst possible camp, the Mud Golems.
True. Yeah, they spot 9class. Have the Skeleton Walk available, or Shadow Walk rather. Of course, it's very different from the Clinks one.
It wouldn't really make much sense to have Skeleton Walk on this guy, although you could argue all Dota heroes really have a skeleton inside them.
Most of them, that's true. Gonna get a courier kill.
Might get 2.
It's only a TP on the second one. But still, being an annoying presence. I mean, the fact that you have to use extra brain power to remember.
Yeah, and you have
protect
to protect
your courier.
sentries, and you still lose your couriers. super annoying.
That is probably the biggest part of Bounty Hunter is how much gold is being spent each game on sentries, just vision in general, to try to counteract them. As a 6-minute power rune is about to come to be, arrows hit onto 9 class with the Laguna Blade as well. They're gonna try to turn this around onto GPK, which would obviously be the bigger kill. Nice cold embrace for Satanic, as no one claims GPK. And now Kataomi gonna get slowed and likely picked off as well. Nice turn of events here from Vision, as no one, I mean, I want to say the first game of the series where he's coming out on top of the laning stage.
Yeah, he's
but
top net worth.
Obviously, it's in big part to his team.
Yeah. They're getting a lot of value out of bringing Prophet to plays and just bringing numbers. And to make matters even worse here for Boom Boys, that was a regen rune top, so no one depleted his entire mana pool and can just get it back. So he can actually look to fight once more. He has TP ready. Could go for a move down bottom. After killing this wave, if he wanted to, he could consider a Wisdom Rune attempt.
They're dead, ganked up. They don't layer their stuns properly, but probably wouldn't matter too much because they'll still dive. TP's coming though, is noticed. Not quite level 6 yet. Kataomi's in the vicinity though.
Crazy, no?
Root onto the Slardar. Notice now on the run, gets nightmared into the tree line. Taken off though. Blood Grenade will slow him. Tower shot making him even lower. Is noticed one more right click would do it, but Kataomi cannot catch up. Now they're gonna try to turn this around again because of the TP from Satanic, but the TP is successful from Kiritich. Extremely close call. And eventually Kataomi does die, but it took a lot to just get that one kill.
Yeah, they really wanted to go for that dive, but Satanic had cooldown on teleport, so eventually, yes, they do get through and kill the Bane, but they didn't get the Lone Druid, which was the grand prize there. Not exactly what Vision had hoped for, but at the same time, they also didn't lose their Slardar, which it looked like they might, so it could have been a lot worse for them. Now Miero is about to hit level 6. We'll see if he chooses to skill Fiend's Gate. We've seen sometimes Underlords not doing that on level 6. I think in this game, it feels like a really, really good pickup given the way the lineup is against functions, how much they rely on bringing in the numbers. So I imagine he is going to skill the gate here. There's no point for now. We will skill it now. All right. So Fiend's Gate online. Prophet ulti online. Anything else worth noting? Not quite, I suppose.
Gales backstabbing Kiritich. He does get the ult off. Already at half HP though. Satanic TP's in. Gets the fear into several heroes, but not Satanic. And that is enough to bring Kiritich down. Death number 2 for the Lone Druid. He did get off to a good start, but now these deaths are starting to rack up.
He's going to lose his tower as well. This is bad news for the Boom Boys side. You're losing the early game against Bounty Hunter Prophet. Turn up that aggression. Now, the good news for them is Bounty Hunter is only level 3, so it's going to be a while before 9 class gets tracked, which is going to make things significantly worse.
Now 1K lead for Vision here.
Yes, indeed.
As no one off to the best start of this series. So we saw what GPK was able to do on the Ember Spirit in game number 2. Let's see if he can replicate it for no one. 9 class. Ooh, very close call.
And Notice seems to also be getting out here. Took a lot of damage from the Lina between Laguna and the Dragon Slave, but not quite enough. Couldn't reach the Nightmare on Kataomi.
Satanic on the Nature's Prophet, still working on the Maelstrom. Just basically one component away at this point of the game.
This is a bit slower than in the previous game.
Well, there's a lot on the line. I feel like we see this every single TI when it's an well, I shouldn't say elimination, but even just going down to the lower bracket, you're going to play a little bit more passive, you would think, on average. 10-minute rune, it's an invis for Kataomi. Not going to stop no one from getting very aggressive. Steering chains onto GPK. Kataomi, nice sentry. They find the Bounty Hunter. Satanic will get stunned out of the TP, but they will get off the Bane, or will kill off the Bane regardless.
Whoa! The enemy's top tower's fallen!
Miero shows up to try to counteract this push a bit. Not a whole lot of damage done to this tower as of yet.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of the time in these high-stakes games in Game 3s, we've seen teams slow down. But I also think that's sometimes what separates the championship teams from the others, is that in the higher-stakes games, they play faster. Sometimes, you know, if everybody else is going to be timid and play passively around the map, if you are the one to take initiative more often than not, you're probably going to find success playing like that. And you can tell Vision don't seem very phased from that game 2 that went wrong. They're going to run back 2 of the same heroes between the Slaughter and the Prophet. They're once again finding their Bounty Hunter a lot of success here, and this lineup is crafted to play quickly, not to play slowly. So even if the stakes are high, I don't expect them to just look to farm here.
Yeah, I do find it interesting that they back-to-back games go for the Nature's Prophet despite losing, despite Satanic being top net worth in the game. But he wasn't that active early, really, if you think back, compared to what he has been in this game number 3.
Yeah, it's just a different lineup by design. It makes a ton of sense to play it this way in this game. So I think it's very good to see that he, you know, a lot of Satanic games, also on the Prophet, like you mentioned, he will just be farming a ton in the first 20 minutes, but this time around he's already been in 5 kills out of the 7, very liberally TPing into fights. He does have slightly lower net worth as a result, like we talked about. The Maelstrom is coming out in 100 gold. I think last game he had it at about 1040, so he's a minute and a half slower on his first farming item, which is actually quite a bit.
Looks like dire
But
structures are fortified.
well worth it for what he managed to accomplish around the map.
Both teams trying to deny the rune, it seems. GPK will be successful in doing so. 9 class running over yet another sentry
Oh,
plate
Moonlight Shadow.
for him. Yeah, Moonlight. Notice now on the run. He's going to get arrowed. Nice setup thanks to the ensnare.
Cold Embrace though.
Cold Embrace to keep him alive a little bit longer. Do they have damage to finish him off? Bone Druid has to use his ult, but he will not survive the transformation. A nice curse onto the Underlord. He will lose the Slaughter, so it's a 1-for-1 to start this fight. And Satanic now on the run, finds himself in a precarious spot inside the pit. One more right click does the job. LSA from GPK into Miero's right click. That's a lot of damage onto no one. Trying to run away from it now, but Save still has a leap and a Starstorm to boot. And another Cold Embrace from Ducalis as Miero. Not sure if they have the damage to finish the job. There's no remnant for the 5 seconds for no one. Getting slowed down thanks to Ducalis. No one. Arrow just has to dodge this, will do so successfully and run away as a result. As the remnant up, will TP back and Save just barely getting outside the reach of these trees. Like that, I believe the fight has finally ended.
Very, very close engagement here, but yeah, nobody really coming out significantly ahead there. Obviously, the good news once again for Boomboys is the Bounty Hunter is still not level 6. That is coming up in about 40 seconds time. He'll be taking the Wisdom. And not only do you get the track gold, but you probably win that fight with track as well from having more mobility. Like, it is going to help significantly, or excuse me, more damage aim, as track has changed.
Many times.
Yep.
Heritage rounding out the Maelstrom here pretty shortly. Spirit Vessel now on to no one. Charges he can get in this early stage of the game. Kataomi is level 6. Haven't seen any Wisdom Shrine plays yet, as the second one will be traded off, it seems.
Yeah, so that's also 6 for Bane, which is obviously huge here. It's not a super reliable grip game because you can get cursed or you can get stopped by a Blink Crush from Slardar, or of course a Bounty Hunter is on you with Shadow Walk that can stop you, but once these fights break out and develop, you're probably likely to find a full duration grip one way or the other. Could have helped out a very big deal in that previous type of fight they were in.
Blink now online for Notice. How aggressive they want to be now.
Exactly. This is a huge pickup because now Bounty Hunter can scout ahead. You can Blink Crush, and then you can stun out of it with Bounty, and in the meantime, Prophet TP's in, and it's just going to be clean kills. So the map now for Boomboys is going to be super tricky to play. You can see 9 class scouting out in the mid. It's going to see GPK.
We get the track into the stun. Searing Chains from no one. The crush from Notice. Goodbye, GPK. Other side of the board, though. Look at this. Satanic getting ganked. The double proc onto the pit. And Satanic, one more right click does him in. So very nice trade across the board for both teams. Obviously, the position 1 going down. The bigger of it. So Boomboys, I guess, are happy with this exchange.
Uh-oh, save. Oh, he saw him. He's in. Oh, he's not going to chase.
Perfectly fine.
Oh, I thought he was going to go for that chase for sure.
Still good. Theoretically, TP. Okay.
All right.
Still going for the shard on Notice. That's extremely nice pickup. One of the few heroes that just picks up shard instantly when they can.
It's such an incredible farm speed increase. And obviously massive for fights.
16-minute rune will be bottom. It's a haste. Nice Searing Chains onto 2 from no one. Arrow will be set up thanks to the Nightmare. So that's a freebie onto Ducalis. Kataomi yet to have to use the Fiend's Grip. Heritage being spotted though in the meantime by 9 class. Still hunting couriers, it seems.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Yeah, will be the typical build from Kiritich. Mjolnir into an eventual Ags is noticed. We would love to try something on the Kiritich, but you know that there's backup. And it's actually a really hard team to get a pickoff on because you have the save from Nightmare, you have Fiend's Gate at their disposal at any time. No one. Gonna try his best efforts here. Searing Chains with the crush to follow. I don't know. Oh my god!
That's enough damage.
His ult actually just insta-gives him. Alright. Just from across the map, just a casual kill, no big deal.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
It looks like they want to try to get more. Not gonna happen though.
9 class cannot go through the barrier, believe it or not. He gets the track off though. Now they do have vision. 4 vision.
Moonlight out of them.
Yep, true.
Don't think you're really thinking about tier 2 here whatsoever. I think it's going to take quite a while before Vision are knocking on those towers, but I think they would love to take the mid-tier 1 and start accessing the enemy triangle. But for the time being, not able to.
A lot of backup for the lone druid here. As 9 class will finally be exiting this area. He's been a nuisance all game long. And how close are we on the Underlord to getting towards... Okay, he already has it. Aghanim Scepter online.
Yeah,
this
that's
is
big.
a huge item for him. Gonna opt for the Shard into a Lotus. So will obviously be very good against the Slardar Corrosive Haze until he gets 25.
It's an insane Lotus game. Slardar, Ember Chains, Track, Curse. Potentially, Curse is still a bit of a wild card, but very good against Slardar Ember. That already is easily worth it. So the rest is just luxury on top.
Another Wrath of Nature coming out. And yeah, Satanic has, aside from just finding kills with the rest of his team, has been left to his own devices, I want to say. The only times he's died is when he's trying to set up a gank. Has a Mjolnir, has the Dragonlance, BKB 1000 into it. And for no one, looking to get the BKB next as well, so they're going to line at least 2 of those. And the question is Slardar doing the same? Absolutely. So if they farm at the same speed, which is not the case, obviously, they will get 3 BKBs within the same realm.
That's a dead bear.
Indeed.
Very
Sets it up.
And Bane is not long.
Who's worth more gold, the Bane or the Bear?
The Bane.
Okay.
Track.
Oh, Fiend's Gate being used though. You can see the arrow coming out on Satanic as well. He's going to get rooted yet again, extremely low, trying to stay alive thanks to the cold embrace. Can he get that last right click from the arrow? The clicks come in, and Satanic actually gets the kill. The double, make it a triple turnaround.
My God,
He survives. Unbelievable play. Satanic getting all the help from Ducalis and friends. My goodness, what a huge turnaround.
It's pretty rare that Satanic tips a teammate. But that was well-deserved. Ducalis, what an insane sequence from him. Perfect curse, perfect embrace.
Now getting another one. Oh, my goodness, just like that. The tables have been turned upright. 6K lead for Vision. Make it 7 as they take a tier 1 tower as well.
And they have the Slardar, so Tormentor should be very easy as well. Or the Roche potentially. I think the Roche is a lot harder to pull off though, but Tormentor right now would be super easy. However, today so far we haven't really seen Vision play any objectives, so I don't know if they're going to be bothered with it, but look at this from Ducalis. Just beautiful stuff. Everything coming together nicely for Vision.
That's
in that
with
moment.
no life steal at all. Just the heal and good positioning, tree lines to their advantage as well. You could see Miero actually did a double take. I'm not sure if that would have made a difference, but started to walk back and then changed his mind. Maybe could have made a difference, but too late now. And those are track kills, ladies and gentlemen. So 8K, that's why this is ballooned all of a sudden. That is the bounty hunter advantage for Vision. Closest characters to this axe.
So what do we got? BKB Lone Druid, excuse me, BKB Prophet now. Yes, you said they weren't going to get it at the same time. That is correct, because Prophet is 5,000 ahead of the others. I think Slaughter and Embers might overlap quite cleanly. Only a few minutes to go on both of them, but yeah.
Got a Malice onto 2, but
Oh,
the
that's
curse
good
from
curse.
Ducalis. The bear is beating the hell out of him. And as you can see, the whole team joins the party to do just that. Kiritich dies as a result. The saddest death so far at TI. And Miero's going to follow suit. And again, it's going to be a team wipe. My goodness. Basically a team wipe. The Lina off the map for the time being. But Vision, my goodness. This has ballooned out of control now.
Yeah,
That Fiend's Gate. Oh my god.
They had 2 pretty close games. But Vision have a dinner reservation at 7.
Yeah.
So
Satanic has to eat at a specific time.
don't want to be late for that. And well, if they keep up this pace, Vision has been one of the few teams this tournament that has been able to close out games really quickly. And when I say really quickly, in this patch, that's probably something between the 30 to 40 minute mark. They've done that multiple times, and this is the type of game with this lead. If they get an objective through, let's say they get Tormentor and Roche, and they get another fight like the one they just had down bottom, they take a set as well. And then they're up like 25K in 30 minutes. So, looking at this from the Boom Boys perspective, you're on your last breath here in this series. If you make another mistake, it's almost, I mean...
All right, look at this Fiend's Gate. Oh my goodness. That was rough.
Yeah, you're just making the curse even better and setting yourself up for chaining down the stuns here. So many kills, so many track kills.
Here to
understand.
Oh my goodness. All right. GPK laughing in the background. Quite the dichotomy there as Ducalis gets killed up by Miero.
The enemy's middle tower's gone.
Vision want to get some retribution for the loss on the Wyvern. Looks like they'll get the trade that benefits them. Miero bites the dust. 12K lead for Vision. Roche opens up for them. Laguna Blade, though, for 9 class. Arrow going to be sidestepped, though. He is burning very low. Will survive. Is this enough for Vision to take Roche? Looks like it. They have the Corrosive Haze, of course, but now Boom Boys.
Light Shadow, he's going to spot them, though.
And the Treant's being placed to try to scatter it out for the arrow to come. It does hit a hero. They don't have the Laguna Blade, so all the burst damage is kind of out now. Dragon Slave doing a good amount of work, but it looks like they'll have to give it up eventually. They make Vision work for it. Satanic claims the first Aegis of the game.
It's a pretty damn good sign for Vision that they finally get a Roche.
I don't think we've seen Grip yet, right?
No, I don't think so either. I mean, the last couple of fights have just been Vision just piling on them and killing them off instantly. There hasn't really been much counterplay at all. The Winter's Curse has really set the terms for every single fight.
Oh, Kiritich, his bear in trouble. More important than the hero. That's a lot of gold, again, going the way. I mean, can you track the bear now?
I don't know.
Well, they still got a lot of gold anyway.
I would think you can't, but...
It's a hero now, though. So
Yeah.
surely.
I still feel like that's not fully consistent across
it's
the
not.
board, but...
Notice, to be spotted. Arrow's gonna hit inside the pit. See no one trying to create a little bit of space. He gets gone, and there's the first piece going to get instantly canceled via to Ducalis and his ult. And no one with the double searing chains. This is a double dead support. LSA gonna hit Satanic, who's made his way over, and Miero just putting down pits of Malices just to get away. Still 4 minutes on the Aegis for Satanic and the rest of Vision. They can play however the hell they want.
I think you could definitely make a case. We're 25 minutes in. You can make a case that this is the best game of the tournament for Ducalis. I feel like everything he's doing is super high impact. The clutch factor, Wyvern is a clutchness hero, and he's just been nailing it over and over and over again in this game. Like sometimes in a 25-minute game, you find like one good curse, maybe 1 or 2 good cold embraces at the right time. I think he's found 5 of each.
Yeah, he's been very good.
Massive swings in every single moment from him.
And this is kind of a sign of how things are going right now for the Boom Boys side. They GPK farming the complete opposite side. And you just better hope that 9 Class doesn't stumble upon him. Kind of the risks you have to take when you're down to this degree.
That's a good point. When your map gets constricted this much, what the cores of the other team will usually do is spill over on your side of the map, but Bounty Hunter is the perfect hero to have in that situation. Obviously, 9 Class will be aware soon enough that, well, we haven't seen Lina for so long on anything. He must be playing up there. And there's no tell for the Lina at all, because Bounty is never shown. So
Heritage, Tukalis again gonna try to set things up, gets the vision, gonna force out the ult. Look how low he gets already from the crush and the right clicks. He is dead just like that. It's gonna be a trade for the Bounty Hunter, but definitely a trade going the way of Vision again as BR just taking massive right clicks from Satanic, who takes the Laguna to the face. Force Staff in to secure the double kill, to secure the tier 2 tower, and Vision continuing to snowball in this game number 3. And that forced GPK back as well, so he honestly would have been better off just chilling in the top side of the map.
what Vision are proving in this series is that all the heralds are right. Torments are just not worth the hassle. Just pretend it doesn't exist in the series altogether. I don't know if...
That's not true. Game 1 they had a lot.
Did they kill it?
Oh yeah.
Wait, wasn't it Boom Boys killing it?
Oh, maybe. Yeah,
I could be wrong. Like, maybe Vision got it once, but...
Overrated. Just moving to that side of the map, just not worth.
All right, time to check on my fantasy how many Tormentor cards I have on Vision.
Yeah,
It's a bit of a problem.
GPK might run into some trouble here. Tukalis gets off the slow again. There's the crush from Notice. GPK in a lot of trouble. The Hurricane Pike. And guess who joins the party? It's Satanic again. You cannot go anywhere as Boom Boys. They now have a close to 20k lead. This Aegis. I wouldn't say they've gotten a ton of buildings, but they've gotten a lot of kills. Finally, Aghanim Scepter for Heritage. He's going to be spotted. No Searing Chains for the Bear, who's now an autonomous creature. No longer as he will go to the grave.
Hey, you are right. They did kill a Tormentor.
Okay,
one.
good. Thank you.
They killed one.
The arrow. They hit an arrow right outside their base, and they're not going to do much about it because they can't. They just can't right now. The age is about to expire here for Satanic. He's going to get the tier 2 top. Kataomi able to secure the shrine. Silver lining for Boom Boys, but this is getting out of control fast. I mean, how good is their high ground, would you say? I mean, compared to the last couple games, it doesn't feel particularly great to me.
I mean, the high ground defense?
Yeah.
Yeah, Underlord is pretty solid with the Ags, but the issue is Vision don't necessarily have to push. I think they're going to massively out-farm and map control, and they're going to... It's almost impossible for Boom Boys to farm the map without getting picked off against Bounty Hunter Prophet and Ember. So even if you trade on farm...
Okay, looking for it. Oh, the LSA misses, and now GPK trying to take out Wyvern. Is a Fiend's Gate coming in. GPK is going to continue to right-click through College, so oh my god! Satanic completely insta-gives him. They'll find save as well. Nothing going the way of Boom Boys. Vision in charge for sure. Satanic, what does he have on him right now? The Daedalus close to getting Satanic. Just 1,000 away for finishing that. He is huge. 8k lead between him and the number 2, which is on his team.
He almost has the net worth of the top 2 enemy cores combined.
That is.
They have 26k, he has 25.
Good God.
Yeah. If this game doesn't end soon, he's gonna beat them out actually, because of how much of the map he owns and the fact that he can just teleport to farm. Obviously, Heritage desperately looking for something on his bear, has access to like 2 camps on the map. That's pretty much it. You can see 9 Class on the prowl up top. Assuming that, well, Boom Boys have to get up here if they want to find any farm, because my 4 teammates are going to keep the bottom half on lock.
GPK and company just have to stay in base. That is the unfortunate consequence of being down.
Oh, hello.
He leaves the base, and look what happens. force BKB out of notice, but the right clicks are coming from Satanic as the curse onto several heroes.
Oh, it's
They
so...
are dying so fast. GG is called, and Team Vision will secure another spot into the upper bracket as Boom Boys, unfortunately for them, will go to the lower.
That was a statement game, I have to say. They run back the Prophet plus Slardar that they lost with in the game just prior, but this time around they couple it up with their first pick Bounty Hunter, and it's a totally different experience for both teams to play this one compared to game 2. That was a beatdown. I mean, what can you say? The favorites win. They were tested,
Yeah.
but this game is...
I mean, they responded really well to a game loss, which, I mean, in some ways, it feels like Boom Boys should have won 2-0.
Yeah, you could argue they could have won the first game. I don't know if Puppy was memeing in the interview when he said they should have lost game 1, but
Yeah.
this game was a statement game, and I think this Bounty Hunter is going to be a heavy contention point against this team. Like I mentioned, we've also seen Yandex have great success with the Bounty.
Yeah.
I wonder if other teams are going to catch on.
Well, Satanic ends the game 13-2 on his Nature's Prophet. I don't think the game went on long enough for that to be his best game, right?
Another fun fact about this game, the highest kill participation out of anyone was Wyvern position 5. Ducalis was in 28 out of 32 kills.
I mean, I would give him MVP for this game.
Yeah, for sure. Satanic was in 27. I mean, they really came together. Satanic was in 27, Noticed was in 25, 9 Class was in 27, and Ducalis in 28. Just beautiful. Ironically, Ember with the lowest kill participation in his team.
Let's go to the stage for an interview.
观众朋友们，大家好，欢迎来到赛后采访。那现在在我身边的是来自 Vision 战队的 Satanic， 还有我们的英文主持 Snarks。Absolutely. Thank you so much, my friend. Satanic, so good to see you. My first question has to be, why the hell are you so good? You have the best stat line out of any carry in the international. I just don't get it. Why are you so much better than every other person here? 我首先想问 Satanic， 为什么你比其他1号位都强那么多？你的每一项数据都是我们这里最好的，到底是为什么？
I mean, I'm just in good shape in this TI. Now team is good, in good shape. So like we're kind of playing on me right now that I'm farming so much, I would say. Of course on Furion I can just run down the enemies. So, and Wundercamps, it's so funny, I don't have to play. It's just like super annoyed them. Yeah, what can I say?
Give it up. 我觉得其实就是我们现在我的状态非常好，我的队伍状态也非常好，他们永远会给我创造很多打钱的空间。我还能说什么呢？就是这样。Do you remember anything about Game 1?
I played 100. Yeah, I remember.
Okay, good. 第一场比赛还记不记得发生了什么？有点长了，有点忘记了。What I'd like to ask you about the end of the game. Snapfire going for the Ancient, kills themselves so they can buy back, hit the Ancient, get that glyph down, and then go in. What is the communication like on the team? Are you guys discussing this, or is this just old man, no one saying, I'm going in, strap in? 第一场比赛的话，最后电决手靠圣剑，然后去靠买活打出了对面的基地的塔防，所以想问一下，你们当时发生了什么？是不是 No One 说我不管了，我要上了？
If we take exactly this moment, he just said 0 words and go in.
到了那样的时刻 ，No One 就说我不管了，我真的要上了。
All right, last question. You guys go into this tournament. Everybody wants to take you out. The target is on your back. Yet, you still survive. Quite a big series here. Do you think anyone's going to be able to take you down? 你们来到这次的比赛，作为最大的夺冠热门，每一个人都想去击败你们。你们现在又成功的晋级到了下一轮。今天对手给了你们很大的抵抗，你对这样的一个情况，你感到意外吗？
I believe in this tournament some teams can cause us a lot of troubles, but I think we'll still win.
Okay, thinks you'll still win.
我相信我们今天摧毁了我们的对手，最后的话更强的队伍永远会赢的。
All right, last question. In your group stage interview, you said if there was one team that stood a good chance, it'd be Team Spirit. You are up against Team Spirit next. Any words for those boys?
你在赛前采访的时候说过，如果有一支队伍最有机会的话，就是 Team Spirit。接下来你们就要面对 Team Spirit，有什么想跟对手说的吗？
Let's see who is the strongest.
我们看看谁是最强的。好的，也是感谢 Satanic 接受我们的采访。我们把剩下的时间给到我们的分析台。
He believes that there will be challenges for Team Vision, but at the end, they'd still win. Well, definitely, Boom Boys did prove to be a challenge, but they did still win. And this game number 3 was firmly in their hands. This was a little bit of a tough point here for me to make because my panel, and especially Saberlight, said, I declare that this one is in the bag of Boom Boys.
I didn't say that.
No, Saber did.
Yeah, but you said all the panel.
All the panel, especially Saber.
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay.
Well, Shiver, a broken clock is right twice a day. How many times is an unbroken clock right? Only once. And that's all I'll say about that.
All right, that's very philosophical. Thank you, Saberlight. Now, this game was getting out of control real fast because at the start of the game, Winter, it did look like we were in for a fairly even game.
Yeah, I would say the first 10-15 minutes were really good for the Boom Boys, despite Kiritich having kind of like a meltdown. I think that if they could farm another 10 minutes, keep the game stable, they would have been okay. And then the Underlord X comes into play, they play the map, they get pickoffs, but they were just constantly reacting to this bounty. I just felt like they didn't really needed to react. Like they TP bot so many times, and this is one of the few bad fights they TP into. They should just let the Lone Druid die, play the map, farm, push, and just wait and see, you know, just try to make your own plays. They were just constantly reacting, and I felt like they just lost the game because they lost their nerve in the game.
Yeah, this was 2 fights back to back that went this poorly for Boom Boys. And Rhea, when that happens, there's no chance. It's just done.
Yeah, I don't think your Lone Druid is supposed to have 6 deaths. Because like even in a lot of the bad games in the group stage for this hero, I don't think the main Druid was ever really in that much danger. They always, that's a new Twitch emote right there. That's the Kiritich. Actually, don't do that to my boy. I really like Kiritich. He's really, really nice.
He really is.
And I can feel his frustration. Like, it sucks when you've had such a close and good series and then it kind of ends on a stomp like this. But I really liked how they utilized the Slardar this time around compared to last time. I think Notice did so much, and you could see when the bear would be found on a side lane, and they can just simply point at it with the Slardar, and then bring in like a slow from Winter, and then the Nature's TP's in, and then it's just dead, and it's like the bear can never farm, the bear can never push, the bear can never have impact.
Yeah, we have no one with an 8-0-13 record, and yes, that is very good. And it would be so easy for us to say, you know what, he gets the MVP, but no! It's time for the supports, Winter. It's time for the callers to take this MVP. Well deserved.
Yeah, he had like some 100k co-embrace or something in one of the fights, you know.
It was so
I felt like this game, he did a lot more than an average Wyvern would do in a game like this. I mean, I think it's a good game for Wyvern, but he did exceptionally well. Like with some of the clutch curses, his co-embraces, and the moves that he was making, he was playing with the right heroes, and also the fact that he had a Nature's Prophet, because I think with Wyvern, you kind of want to move around in this game, and Nature's Prophet is perfect, and we mentioned that why they picked MP into the Lone Druid, because you want to TP to his lane and just mess up his early game, and they did it so many times, and maybe some of it was avoidable, like 6 deaths, not that great, but you saw the game plan there.
The game played out very well for Vision in the end. Saber, your predictions are safe.
Good.
Yeah.
God bless. Yeah. I also want to highlight Notice. I was surprised by how incredible he did in the lane. I don't think it's easy to lane this Slardar bounty against Lone Druid Bane. That seems like an absolutely incredible lane, and they just managed no problem. They beat the lane, and then eventually Satanic was able to TP in, they opened the tower, and they were able to bully the Lone Druid afterwards. But that only happens if you don't get destroyed the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was a fantastic series to watch. Our first 3-gamer here on the main stage. Ladies, gentlemen, thank you so much for your thoughts for the first half of the day. We are going to shortly head over to the second half of the day, where Natty and her team will take you through that. Before we get to our next series, which will be a Liquid taking on Team Yandex, we are going to hear some words from both of the teams, starting with Tofu and Nisha, about how they feel coming into this best of 3.
I think overall we can be really happy with our group stage. Maybe due to the fact that we made it straight to the playoffs and skipped the elimination round, but also overall we had like some setback in every game. More than we lost like the first game in the series always, and then we have to bounce back.
Usually in groups I don't really care how many losses you have, but it was like back in my mind, like if you go 3-2, it's like, well, I guess it's kind of scary.
It wasn't necessarily clean, but I think also like a good thing out of that is that we had to learn something out of every series. And usually when you win, you like take it a bit more easy and just like move on. There was like emotions involved in every series that people had to overcome, fight against, but also learn from. So I think that's very good.
I mean, the teams we played were pretty hard, especially like the last two, I think. But we ended up going for one, and very happy with that because we would have to play the like elimination round, which we like failed last year.
We also have good momentum in the team right now, and I think the mood and vibe is very good. So I'm happy with how things are now.
When it comes to Yandex, our next opponent, I think they probably underperformed in the group stage, or against us, I don't know. But I think they usually were a good matchup against us. I don't think we won against them before that.
But I think everyone, both sides of the teams, fans, everyone just looking forward to a good match. And God knows how to say, it's been a while that we played in front of a crowd. We're just going to give it our best.
Feel the energy from the crowd. But I mean, it sounds kind of hype, to be honest.
TI also, it's always special. The TI magic, just get out, enjoy the game, see the fans, feel the hype, feel the crowd. I think we are one of the most experienced teams, at least in terms of age and like career decorations. But yeah, I don't know, it's falling out of favor to have massive crowds. So I think that's just what we're looking forward to.
I don't think you go into tournaments thinking you're gonna lose either. So, I mean, it's not really on my mind, I guess. But we will win, yeah, top one. That's the goal.
I think our journey through the group stage has been pretty rough.
We weren't sure what's best for our team, like what are the heroes that we should play.
Maybe it was like we had our expectations too high, so when we had like some rough results in the first place, our confidence was kind of shaky. And
the games that we played could have gone like either you win or either you lose. It's like total 50-50.
We're happy to make it out at this point.
I mean, even like Dota predictions, I didn't put myself in 4-0 or 4-1. I just put myself in a like survive group stage.
I think expectations going into this event definitely hurt us because people are putting us in parties like the top two teams.
I wasn't shocked at first because I knew our conditions of our team.
TI is all about like mentality, and we need to be relaxed and in a good state of mind to perform.
In the playoffs, we're gonna figure out what's the best approach for the games.
In like all my best results, I've had this mentality, and I think that's the best way to do it.
No more messing around from us, and we're gonna perform more responsible.
Going up against Liquid, we're not focusing so much on the match itself, more like on ourselves and trying to get ourselves to a point where we feel confident in our play. We want to win the whole thing, and Liquid is just one obstacle to overcome. So right now we're just focusing on getting better, fixing our mistakes that we have, and just basically improving on any point we can.
For me personally, just need to focus top win days because they are my teammate from previous team, and they think they are better than us. I'm gonna prove them wrong because they suck.
TI still definitely holds a special place in people's minds.
For me, TI means something bigger than a regular tournament.
I think it's still by far the most important tournament of the year for everybody.
On the TI, you can make a history.
If you want to be considered one of the best, you have to at least win one. So definitely it's still very important for people to do.
It's not about the money, it's not about the fame.
Nobody has still won it 3 times, so I want to get there.
I always been dreaming of lifting up these ages and have my name on it.
And we're back.
of TI 15 main stage continues. We are only halfway through this day one. We've had 2 best of 3s, but we have 2 more to come. And it isn't just those 4 personalities that we saw in our content piece there. There's 3 more that we get to welcome to the panel here. Starting off with TI 13 winner, Liquid alumni Insania down there. Of course, we have Effie, our Miss Consistent, and our Earth Spirit connoisseur. And Quinn Callahan, our 2-time TI finalist, but now you've been on more TI panels than finals.
Well, getting there, not quite yet.
Almost.
But I am very excited to be here. TI is such a special tournament. It's such a treat to get to be a part of it in any way, shape, or form. And I'm just super excited to get to watch these teams play, as I have a very personal connection to both of them.
Yeah, it's actually crazy to see just where, you know, your old teammates from Gaimin have ended up for themselves. But I do want to check in with you all the way down there, Insania, how you're feeling for TI joining us here. And I know TI 10 was a while back where you were paneling there, but this time around, a retired player, retired man, you're supposed to be here, you know?
Yeah, it's really nice to be here. I honestly, you know, TI is a very special event to me. I think it is the thing that we've strived for all your career. You wanted to, you know, become the champion, and it's cool to see that it still means so much to all these like new school players that maybe they weren't around for like the really glorious years, but you can still hear like Maldi talk about it. It's something special. It's not about the money. It's about what it means. And being a TI winner, I think, is something that everybody wants to work towards.
Yeah, and it's super special if you to get to come into main stage, know that we have our top 8 here, to see Liquid, Yandex, ex-teammates of some of our panelists here to go up against each other and hopefully continue their dreams of the upper bracket into a TI final.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an exaggeration to say that these are the best teams of the year, and it's been a very competitive and incredible year of Dota, but this is the culmination of it. And ultimately, someone's going to be crowned the winner, and that's what we're here to get a front row seat to.
All right, well, let's start talking about our tiers, because it's not too much time between series here. We can start up with Liquid and what we're expecting coming out from them in Insania. The fact that it feels like a pretty rough year for them, having lost their offlaner, having lost you as well, having a bit of a void to fill in since last TI.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's interesting. Like, this team essentially consists of the remnants of like Gaming Gladiators and Liquid, and these were like the main 2 rivals. We were the rivals throughout like all of, I think, 2023, 2024.
Yeah,
somewhere around there.
And now you're paneling together as well.
Yeah, exactly.
We didn't even.
We're on the panel. We're rivaling here. They're rivaling in the games. They're playing up against Maldi and Watson, obviously part of Gaming Gladiators. But more importantly, they got Ace and Tofu, which is like 2 of the star players that we struggled against all the time. So it's cool to see that like Liquid is literally just like the people they struggled with were the players they decided to go for when they wanted to like build their new team.
Yeah, I think it's also so special these players have been together for so long. Like, they've been together all the way since the start of COVID on different teams together. And I think players that stick together like that over long periods of time, you build the chemistry, you build that cohesion. And it's also just such a cool storyline. It's 2 people who have said, you know, we could have been on other teams, we could have taken different paths. We're going to stick it out and stay together and build something because we care about not just building something in general, but with each other.
And this is 5 years together as lane duos, over 1,000 games together, Mir, as lane duos. But now they're split. Tofu took on that role of a position 5, so you know they could still have some semblance of being in a team together with Ace.
But to me, that says a lot about how much they value Team Liquid and their desire to play on it, to split up their duo of playing that many games together. And a lot of the issues that I would attribute to maybe Ace looking a little bit shakier earlier towards the season was because his lane partner was taken away. But now that we're reaching the end and the culmination, like we mentioned, it seems like Ace and Boxy have kind of filled that flow and fit into that role that Ace and Tofu used to have.
Yeah, I mean, it's also something that Liquid have done before. I mean, you can speak to this more, but y'all's season with 33 was pretty shaky for a large majority of it. But toward the end, you sort of got it together. What do you think it is about like Liquid that lets y'all do that? Because there's something about this team that when the Aegis starts getting closer, they start ramping up.
I think it has a lot to do with the way the team is built. Like, the philosophy within the team is that the tournaments throughout the year don't really matter, in the sense that we don't need to win them. But the point is to go to all these events and learn about our team, learn about what makes us good, and learn about like...
Team Liquid.
This roster of Liquid, whilst a shaky year it has been, rounding a corner, getting to win the previous online tournament before coming into the international here, and they're hoping to make that group stage dominance count. They're striving to prove that they're a 4-1 team for a reason, coming in as the highest seed, but will they take opportunity in the shakiness of their opponent? Of 5 here. Chira Jr. being the only remaining player of the 12 months ago Yandex that we saw. Sux's veteranship has led them to a lot of success throughout this year, but is it enough to bounce back from a rough group stage? A situation in which not a lot of people thought they would be in here. The fact here, Mira, that we're seeing them come in as the lower seed is the biggest question mark about Yandex. Will they perform when it comes time to being on main stage, not just enough to scrape through group stage?
Yeah, when you look at the year that Yandex have had, most people came into this tournament with the expectation that they would be one of the teams, if not the team to beat. They have had a fantastic year with 3 first-place finishes and a lot of second and third podium finishes, and they looked like the raid boss in a lot of the tournaments they played, most recently at EWC. Then here comes TI group stage. Even though you're good, even though you've had a fantastic year, the nerves can hit you, things can change, but we heard from Malady in that interview that he thinks that it was close. A lot of the games that they lost, they could have won, and the pressure, they've got to be feeling it right now, but I think they're going to rise to the occasion.
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways, TI, like, as long as you make it, that's all you really care about. And I think that's very true because so much of this first part of the tournament is about learning. It's a long tournament. It's a double elim. It's a lot of games. And so the more you can learn about yourself, about your team, about the heroes you want, the meta is such an important thing at TI. I think that can be an advantage as long as you survive. And they did. That's what counts. And now they can use all those losses to their advantage.
I feel like that's what they have to prove today, though, right? They have to prove that they did learn from these games.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just like, we're not that good, we're a little bit shaky. It's, we took all these games, we tried out all the stuff that we want to try out, and we realized what doesn't work. And I think Yandex this year, I haven't seen that from them, really. Like, the tournaments that they've done well in, they've come in and they've looked hot from the start. So I think for them, that is a big challenge, and they have to prove it to us. They have to show us that they are capable of doing that.
That's very true, because even that raid boss moment that I mentioned during the most recent EWC, they were completely crushing. They weren't put in situations where they had to recover from bad lanes. They weren't put in situations where their drafting was weaker. And they usually come into tournaments with ideas that set the pace for most of the meta. This time around, it seems like they're just following what the rest are doing and aren't doing anything that's signature to them, outside of a few exceptions, like Chira Jr.'s Invoker being first phased or Sox's Mirana coming through in a draft.
Being more, retaliating rather than the ones leading the charge and having their foot in the door there. But I wanted to know more about, Quinn, your perspective when you say implementing these learning lessons for themselves whilst they've had that experimentation. Where has it mostly been? What roles or in what ways do you see that play out?
I think it applies to all the roles, but I think especially, I've actually feel like the safe lane has been weaker than in prior tournaments. I look at Malady and Watson, they were extremely dominant throughout this year, and I come into this tournament and it wasn't quite the same. I think their safe lane in a lot of games is not going as well as it was before, and that bleeds into the other lanes. All these small changes, and maybe a lane goes slightly worse, and now it affects your other lanes because there's less ganks and things like this. And so I look at especially the younger players on this team to how do you stand up with the TI crowd, the TI pressure, because it's a different beast and Liquid is much more experienced. And so I think the onus is on Yandex in a lot of ways to prove that we are up to the task.
When we look towards how we had that, what their year had been, one of their second places was a Blast Slam that happened here in China. And that was actually the first time we'd seen many people on that roster take to a main stage. I know Saxa doesn't fall in that category. I know Watson and Malady don't necessarily either, but CJ was the one for me in senior where I was like, he didn't feel that he was playing to his level on a main stage. And I'm hoping, because that happened so long ago, November last year, a lot more time has developed and it's not going to be a factor today at TI.
I think your first event in front of a crowd is always a little bit different. Like, you don't have that experience at all, and you don't know how it's going to affect you. I think a lot of players think to themselves, like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be just like any other event. But it's not. It's different. There's a different energy. There's a different vibe going on in the arena. And sometimes it brings out the worst in you, and sometimes it can enable you to shine the brightest. And I think having been there before, it's a completely different time. Your second time, you're a lot more prepared for it. And I think for him, he has been one of the most improved players of the year.
Yeah.
And he has the skill, he has the capacity, he knows how to do it. And now it's just like, take that experience you gained last time you were here and prove that you can do it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that idea of some players shine brighter on the TI stage because it's a make or break moment. Like there's an energy in the room, and you're choosing what you do with that energy. Does that energy take advantage of you and you crumble under its pressure, or do you channel that into your gameplay and make yourself better? And I don't know.
Spirit's a big one of it. We saw it earlier today.
Yeah.
Spirit's definitely a massive one of that. But when we're also talking about Yandex, despite it being just on stage, also the year that they've had for themselves, whilst we looked at results, it's more about what's happened on their roster, Effie, the fact that we've seen them make this change in their off lane. They started off with Noticed being their off laner, and at about the start of the year, Marchish, they had DM come and stand in, and I feel like that's a really blurred moment for people who've been following throughout the year, but also a question mark for people who are only tuning in now.
Yeah, it's funny because essentially two of the most dominant teams of the year, if not the most dominant teams of the year, basically swapped offlaners. It's like they did a cultural exchange program or something, but it turned out that sometimes you can have a very high-tier player in Notice, for example, on Yandex and not have it be the perfect fit for you. And they discovered that when DM stood in for him because he had visa issues, and he just slotted in better. I would attribute that personally to DM's ability to take a step back and not be as greedy. Notice is a player who does tend to farm a bit more, and that does fit more on Team Vision.
Yeah, I think they also definitely want a player who can just play early heroes. He's down to play anyone. I think DM, when I think of him, I think of a player who just pick me whatever hero, and I'll sit there and I'll just take it. And you on the other cores can farm, and they can gank me, and they can try anyway. I'll dodge all their ganks, and I'll be low net worth, and it's okay. And I think for Watson especially, that's what he wants in an offlaner.
Yeah, I think DM, to me, we have this concept in Liquid that we refer to as casuals. It's like some player that is willing to play any hero into any matchup. So a lot of like pro players, they want to have like the best matchup. They want to last pick their hero. They want to see all the information and then pick. I feel like DM is the polar opposite. He's like, I want to play Doom, and I want to play Doom into anything. I don't care. And I think for Yandex, that's what they needed, right? And Notice is, like you mentioned, a bit more of like a later type pick player.
Well, we've seen these two teams come up against each other recently. In fact, they went up against each other in group stages. So we're looking at, yes, this hero pool of DM, but more importantly, how that series went, because it was such a pivotal part for them at the moment in which they clashed. They were both 1-0, so it was really early on. But from that, Yandex ended up taking a downward trajectory, coming into the elimination round as 2 and 3. Liquid went on to be 4 and 1, and I think a lot can be taken away and said about this matchup specifically.
Yeah, this series for me was one of the most interesting ones to watch unfold because that game 2, very easily, with a few different decisions being made by Yandex, could have been a 2-0 on Team Liquid, and I think they're very aware of that. After they lost this very close game where they had a lead for a big portion of it, then they just kind of snowballed into that Game 3 loss, which we see happen so often. But in that Game 2 in particular, they fell for the ultra bait Insania, which is, we're going to go on Mickey's Monkey King, and we're going to fight him, and we're going to call his bluff, and then suddenly he turns with the Jingu stacks, and the game flips on its head.
I mean, Mickey is, I think, one of the best Monkey King players in the world.
Yeah.
And when he's given these kinds of like lane setups where you see him playing up against the Axe, it's a melee hero, Monkey King gets to stack up the Jingus, he shines in these moments. I also remember Tofu had an amazing series this game on the Shadow Demon. But no, I think this was also the #1 confidence check for Yandex, right? This is the moment, like Saksa mentions it in his interview, where their confidence was a little bit shook because they had high expectations and they weren't able to live up to that. And I think Liquid was the team that gave them that like reality check of like, hey, you guys are not as good as you think you are. And I think this is like why this is so cool to see them go up against each other again.
Yeah, it's so cool, especially when you've played against each other in the past. That rivalry builds up over time, and you've played with and against these players, and there's so much unsaid in the air. You walk past each other at lunch, and you see it, and you kind of smile, say, good luck today, but there's...
You don't really mean it.
You don't really mean it. You want them the worst luck ever. Every rune is on the other side. All the creep score rolls low, like everything like this. So there's so much tension, and you can feel it when you see them in the booths. And I'm just excited.
Okay, when you see them at lunch, though, Quinn, when you walk past them, you have your safe lane duo of Watson and Malady on one side, and your off lane duo of Ace and Tofu on the other. So who are you really wishing? Who needs more luck, and who do you think is just got that slight edge on skill and doesn't need the luck as much?
I think Liquid's got the edge, if I'm being honest. I think they have the experience edge, and to me, that's the biggest thing. You talk about Mickey as Monkey King. I think about Mickey and Nisha as players that are rock solid. These guys do not have bad games. They own every game regardless of the pressure. I think they thrive under the pressure. And, you know, you see it on camera. The flip side, Cheers Jr., does he stand up to the pressure as well as Nisha does? Is he as consistent? I don't know if the answer is yes.
Nisha's just aura-farming in that booth, by the way.
He fills up the whole camera shot. You can't see anything else.
Fit him in the camera. He's so huge. No, but I also think it's interesting because I think Liquid, when they struggle throughout the year, I think a lot of it has to do with like motivation issues and kind of like not able to like lock in the same way that they can do when they're in front of a crowd. And I think the same thing goes for Niche, Mick, like a lot of like the cores on Liquid. When they get in front of a crowd, suddenly they're reminded of why they love playing Dota. They're reminded of why this, you know, they've been stuck around for so long and played this game for so long. So I think Nisha in this kind of matchup against CJ, it's like the opposites really. It's you have the guy that loves the crowd, shines in front of the crowd, and the guy that we haven't seen that from yet.
And on that note, I do think a lot of this matchup will be dictated by these two mid laners, because while CJ didn't have the best group stage performance, I think he is by far the most improved player of the year and has had tournaments where he's been diffing a lot of the best mids in the world. We just didn't get to see that same level of confidence from him. And when I look at the series that they played versus Liquid, to me the big issue was when they were picking CJ heroes that didn't counterpick for mid lane. CJ's a player where I think he shines if you give him a counterpick if he's not on his first pick invoker. He wants something to dominate the lane with, and in that game 3 where he played a mid primal beast versus Nisha's Earth Spirit, it was just crickets. And I just don't think that's the style of Dota that you want to play to enable CJ. At EWC, he was the best mid Slardar, and he was using it to counterpick all these Earthshaker mid players like BZM, the Earth Spirit mid players. He had a hero in his pocket, but we just haven't seen him bust it out this TI.
Yeah, I think you want comfort. You want comfort, especially in a first game like this. There's going to be a lot of tensions. The first game on stage, there's a lot of nerves. Get that out of the way. Play something that you have a lot of muscle memory for. You have tons of games that is very easy and normal for you, not just in a pub sense and an individual hero performance, but also in a team setting, right? A hero you played a lot within the structure of Yandex, something that works well.
We're seeing some big smiles coming out from Liquid as well as we were hovering over their booth for a brief moment there. And I think on the side of Yandex, it isn't so much smiles, but I do think the energy is there. I think it's just displayed in a different way. I feel like they're a team in Sania that's a little bit more, we want to center ourselves and focus on ourselves. It's not that copium that some people might chalk it up to be, but I think that's a genuine thing that Saxa was talking about.
I mean, they're fundamentally different teams in that regard. I think Liquid is a lot about, like, we want to keep it relaxed, we want to have a good time, we want to just try to enjoy ourselves, and I think it's reflected if you just look at the player cameras. I think, like, Yandex is a lot more about, like, you know, it's all about the Dota, and I think Liquid is a lot more about, like, what kind of headspace do we want to come in with? You see Nisha, like, fully lean back in his chair. You see, like, they're laughing and making jokes. I know what it's like in that booth. Right now, nothing is serious. Like, William Lee is saying some stupid things to try to make people laugh and just get them relaxed, and that's how they shine. So it's just really, I find it to be really cool. Even like further than that, the way they approach Dota is also quite different in some ways. And I think Liquid is like a team that you're gonna see this kind of vibe from in the game too. It's not that serious.
When you say approach different, how so? Like, is it a hero? Is it the tempo that they want to play with? Like, what exactly could you pinpoint it down to that is different?
So I think when I think of Yandex, I think of like the remains of the Tundra roster that won TI. They have Saxa, who brings that and like that kind of vibe into their team, which is very much like, we're going to focus on the Dota, we're going to focus on the numbers, we're going to think about how to get as much value as possible out of the map. Whereas Liquid is a lot more of like a vibe team, I think. They try to like find these specific moves, they're trying to find these clutch moments, they try to connect the heroes in a way that is unexpected and their opponents don't see it coming. And that's how I think they really like differentiate themselves from each other.
Yeah, and on that note, I think they are different in a macro sense, but also kind of similar. Like, when I look at Team Yandex, they do remind me a lot of Team Liquid when they're in peak performance. If I look towards the EWC that was played most recently, I thought that I was watching old Gaming Gladiators or Prime Liquid sometimes watching Yandex. They had the earliest or the shortest average win duration. They were grouping up really early. They were like 5-man collapsing on mid lane towers. I was like, am I watching Gaimin? What's going on? And when I think about it, Melody and Watson, they did come from that Team Quinn, and maybe they brought some of the lessons that they learned onto Team Yandex when it comes to that.
Yeah, they're definitely players that can push that aggression when they get the chance for it. I think lanes will be a really, really big deal in this matchup, especially it being a game one. I think jumping off the bat to a good start is very, very good. And I totally agree with the in the booth vibe. It's so funny. Like, just looking at them just stare at their monitors. It's just 5 dudes. No one's talking. Everyone's just staring at the monitor. Maybe take a little sip of water if you're thirsty. But other than that, you're getting in your own zone. Watson's looking at something.
Oh, I was like literally the one person to prove you wrong is Watson. He's like, actually, I'm going to look around, really
Never
taking
mind.
the stage. A little bit of a bait there, but you're talking about what reminded you so much of a winning Yandex mirror. But we have this team versus team right now. Their numbers, Liquid and Yandex, the average duration really isn't that different. Even when it comes down to the shortest duration, an 18.5-minute game for Yandex, whereas the other side for Liquid, it's 28 minutes. And again, longest duration. So the fact that their average duration right now is within 2 minutes of each other, you could see that they're going to want similar tempos. They're going to want to have a similar win conditions too.
And 2 minutes can be quite long in Dota. Like a team that wins in 39 minutes versus a team that wins in 45, I look at them entirely differently. And I think that's so cool because Yandex, when you look at the players on it, Watson in particular, he does not seem the type to play for early aggression when you look at his hyper carry pool. And the coolest thing about Yandex when they're doing well is that they don't care who their carry is. They will push the advantage and go high ground. And I think that's been to their detriment sometimes during this group stage. They've had moments where they've been leading and they just take a bad fight or two. They try to push a little bit too much and it's not within their calculations and things go wrong very quickly.
I think another really cool thing about the statistic we just had on our screen is if you notice Liquid stats, they're a lot more consistent. Like, you have Yandex said their shortest win was 18 minutes and their longest game was 68, whereas Liquid is like between like...
It was 27 and 60.
27 and 60. It's a lot closer. And Liquid also played a lot fewer heroes, which I think is a signal that like they know what they want. And Yandex is spreading, it's a lot more spread. They're like 42 heroes versus 31. So Liquid kind of feels like they're a team that knows what they want to do. They're coming here with a game plan. They're coming in and they have something figured out already. And Yandex is a little bit more, you know, still trying to find their foot.
I mean, to me, this series for Yandex is going to make or break them. Because I think that if they can start off their main stage experience with a strong Game 1 win against Liquid, it's going to change from what we've seen during group stages. And I think that if they lose in a fashion that wasn't competitive, we might see them spiral. That's just my take on how they've been playing. And that's why they seem so quiet. That's why they seem so focused and centered, because they're coming into this as the weaker seed, and they understand that they haven't lived up to their own expectations.
You're talking about the difference in heroes as well when it comes to the whole team, a difference of essentially 10 heroes. And for the side of Yandex, it's predominantly the mid and the carry that are experimenting. Both Watson and Tira Jr. have 11 different heroes for themselves. Like, they're not really finding consistency. And sometimes that's great, Quinn, because it's like you're always going to have that great counter pick. You're always going to have that gotcha hero. But if you're not winning, if you're coming in as the lower seed, it doesn't scream we have gotcha picks. It's we don't have confidence in where we're going.
I totally agree. And I think in the modern era of Dota, having a smaller pool of heroes that you sort of, everybody's got 4 or 5 heroes, you can't ban them out, and they cycle through those heroes, and they just pick them, and they form slightly different drafts amongst a similar pool of heroes, I think is shown to be the best way to win games, because people know what they're expecting. You know, what they expect from lanes, how they expect the team fights to work. People have similar jobs. This guy starts fights, this guy follows up, and you build a lot of consistency and practice there. And so I think when we see those hero pools, you think the bigger one maybe is an advantage because you've got more possibilities. But I think the smaller one actually tends to be just a better result, apart from like a Collapse or Yatoro that can play 14 heroes in 14 perfect games and it works, but there's not many Yatoros and Collapses.
Yeah. I mean, they're 2-time TI winners for a reason, of course, but we're focusing in now on the side of Liquid because their smallest hero pool comes out when you look at supports. Boxy's that one, Insane. When we look at what he's been able to do, it's just a strong foundation for the offlane of Liquid to succeed, to then transition into all of Liquid succeeding.
I think Boxy generally at TI he's been the Tusk guy, right? He's always a melee guy. He plays some melee hero. He absolutely like runs the show for Liquid. And this time around, he's taken more of like this Hoodwink Wind Ranger kind of role where he plays a bit more heroes that will enable ace, but still have some sort of catch, still have some sort of way of like starting fights for them. Because I think that's really like what he has to do for Liquid. He's the big voice, and he wants heroes that enables him to have a voice, and that's stuns, essentially.
Yeah, the Hoodwink and the Wind Ranger definitely help with that, and I think it's a good replacement. It works with ace, but also isn't, you know, not stuns.
Yeah.
We're going to be able to see the first game of Yandex and Liquid
versus Team Yandex. Game 1.
We do have a game #1 draft here, Liquid and Yandex. We're going to be seeing the bans popping up pretty soon, but it feels quite stock standard in some of the learning lessons that our teams have taken away from group stage. Tree, Lina, Undying, Invoker, and Kez being taken out.
The big question for me is, Nisha's been on a tear on Earth Spirit. Are you going to let it through on Yandex? Are you going to try to take it for yourselves, or are you going to try to beat it? Personally, I think CJ hasn't impressed me so much with playing his Earth Spirit, so in the case of banning it, I would agree with it, but I would also love to see them attempt to counterpick it on the mid lane. Just pick a hero that punishes him, punishes a melee hero, go back to your roots a little bit and bring the Slardar back, but not in this game one.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that Liquid also opted to ban out Invoker. I was looking a bit at their statistics throughout the year because they played up against each other quite a lot of times. And Yandex has beaten Liquid almost every single time. I think their track record before TI was 1-5, and 5 being Yandex, 1 being Liquid. And Invoker was quite frequently picked in those series. So I think Liquid has also realized, like, even though they beat it in the group stage, this hero is a problem for them.
Yeah, it's very spooky and it scales very, very well, and it's also super comfort for Chira. So I think it is a good ban. It makes a lot of sense, and a lot of teams are prioritizing it. So this IO hero is a hero that has been the talk of the town over the past week. This may not be what you think it is, which is support IO. This is most likely a core IO, which has been popularized over the past couple of months. It is very, very powerful. We saw Watson win a game with it during the group stage, so they are capable of playing it, and I like the cojones to pick it super early like this because I think this hero is very scary, and if you do not win the game very quickly or build a lead against it, it can take over.
There's a caveat, though, to a core IO working where it feels like you still need to be able to have either another core that feels really good to relocate in, or support that you can bring with it. Surely it isn't just as straightforward as shut it down early and you can win against an IO carry or IO core.
That's a very valid point. I mean, when you look at IO carry and the current support pool, he works with most of them. Like, we're seeing a lot of 5 Undyings. We're seeing Largos sometimes be flex to support, but mainly played through the offlane. We're seeing Tusks, we're seeing Clockworks. All of these heroes they pair excellently on lane, and also in the case of heroes like Clockwork, can set up for that IO relocate. I look at this IO come out in the first phase, and I think it's very ballsy, like Quinn mentioned, but it also makes sense in Sanyo versus Nature's Prophet. You have this hero with global threat, you counter it with your own global threat.
Yeah, I mean, Wisp, whenever I see Wisp at TI main stage, it just makes me think of, you know, TI9 OG when they did this. And I know something they really like to run was the Wisp Tusk. And when you have these two heroes paired together, you get the overcharge that adds damage to the, what is it called, to the tag team. And then you have that relocate that you mentioned, and suddenly Nature's Prophet is not tanky at all. This guy just vanishes. And this is another way to abuse the Wisp, which is just you amplify the healing.
Yeah. Yeah, this combo is terrifying. I think, honestly, when I see these two heroes, I think the story of the game has already been set in terms of draft. You cannot beat IO Largo late game. It's impossible. The healing is absolutely out of control. Without something like an A or a Doom, I think it's just completely, it's not even a question. And so to me, Liquid is in the ballpark of we want to run them over now because IO and Largo, they're greedy heroes, they're farmers. And you've got a window where you can abuse them, where you can run them over. You can get these ranged turrets, these Scotties that beat them down and nullify the regen some. And so I think Liquid's got, they know what their path is, what their plan is for the draft now.
Yeah, the healing amp is ridiculous, but also the damage amp, right? Like,
yeah.
IO Spirits with the Aghanims plus Largo's, like, E, plus Conjurer's Catalyst, which seems to drop in every game when you're playing against core IO. Like, wow, suddenly he's got a Conjurer's Catalyst. It feels like you can't play into this. There's permanent uptime on ridiculous damage.
I mean, Yandex are essentially saying, like, hey, this is our draft, try to beat it.
Yeah.
And I actually like that Liquid take the Tusk away. I think Tusk is one of the main enablers that allows Wisp to get through the early game. And like we mentioned already, for Yandex right now, it's about how can we build a strong enough early game that we can reach our end game timings, because that's already on the table. If we get to the end game and we have everything online, we're going to be stronger.
Yeah, and I think the Tusk Marauder fits that very well. It's two heroes that are really like early skirmishing. They get up in there, they fight, and you can set up for Nature's Prophet TPs because you want to open the towers early, you want to speed the game up, keep making moves, keep killing heroes, and I think these heroes fit very well. Not to mention you've got some extra damage from potential Vessel and Marana to counter the healing. You've got Tusk, which amplifies Nature's Prophet's damage. I think it's these picks make a lot of sense and fit that sort of theme of we need to tempo these guys and shut them down.
I also like that Yandex are kind of defining the draft. When you pick these kinds of heroes that are like, now you need to respond to us. I think this is something that we haven't seen from them in the group stage. And it's showing confidence in that, like, they're willing to put their draft out there and be like, now you come play our game. Boxy is not playing Wind Ranger or Hoodwink. They're not having that offlane combination that they've done so well with throughout this year, or this TI. They're forced on this Tusk, you know, which is a Boxy hero. They can absolutely pull it off, but Liquid is playing Yandex's game.
And that is a concern of mine, because while Boxy is probably the best Tusk in the world, it hasn't looked amazing for them this group stage, like you mentioned, Nat, because Boxy and Ace, they seem to function if Boxy is playing a hero that doesn't stack camps like Coddle, just sits on the lane, hits the enemy, secures him his early game farm, and then leaves. When you're playing this Tusk into Yandex's lineup, you're making him leave that lane very early. He's going to be going mid, he's going to be trying to pressure that IO and kill him as early as possible with the Nature's Prophet TPs, and that's not Ace's recipe to success.
It's definitely not. And with Enchantress and Hoodwink, it's two more heroes that are difficult to kill. Enchantress got the healing, Hoodwink's got the running through the trees and the built-in evasion. Like, you need more tools to kill stuff, because just one support that's starting fights, you look at Mirana and Nature's Prophet, they're follow-up heroes. Nature's Prophet TP's in, Mirana once someone already stuns, you can arrow them. You need other heroes that can get in there and get the ball rolling. You don't want too much more follow-up, because there's a lot of stuff that you need, a lot of tools to kill. It's not heroes that just melt when you look at them.
Someone that I'm surprised is still in the hero pool is Centaur. He was a big talking point when it came to group stage. It felt like more often than not, he was first phase picked, and in Seder, I'm looking, it's still there. Someone who goes in, someone who has a blink, stun, initiate.
Hero fully capable of doing it. I think Ace doesn't really love playing the hero that way.
I see.
And they're going to opt for the Dawnbreaker. This has also been extremely strong for them throughout the groups. I think they're one of the few teams that plays it really actively, and Dawnbreaker Tusk is an amazing combo again. If you look at their spells, Dawnbreaker's Q essentially is 3 auto attacks really quickly, and Tag Team amplifies that. And Wisp is like a pretty low armor hero, so if you get on top of the Wisp, it can just explode.
Versus Enchantress as well. You have the means to kill her now with this Dawn Starbreaker. She was a hero that Yandex were just going to throw into the enemies and say, press your only disables on me. We're going to survive this and our IO will kill you all. Now Dawnbreaker's purpose in the fights is very clear. Hoodwink and Enchantress are the heroes that Ace should target, and the global presence on top of Nature's Prophet's global presence will be able to match IO's tempo once he gets his items.
Yeah, I do think there is risk in this pick, though, because you've now got 2 global guys. Dawn is also a follow-up hero, so there's a lot of weight on Tusk now, and I totally agree about the Tusk Dawnbreaker lane. That is a classic counter pick to Enchantress. When Ench was a first pick hero, you respond with those 2 heroes and you try to kill her. But if you don't get the kills, suddenly, if you look at a long fight in this game, like a fight where both teams are kiting and chilling, Yandex is super happy because they have all these heals, all this slow damage over time, and Liquid needs to burst you. If they're not bursting you with a Tusk jump into a Dawnbreaker follow-up, then what are they doing in the fights?
Yeah, I absolutely love this Puck ban as well, because I was thinking here on 18, this is on our road to winning TI13. This was our go-to thing. So the pick where they just picked Dawnbreaker, the very, very strong thing about it is that you get to pick your hero into banning 2 heroes immediately afterwards. And Puck was our go-to. You pick the Puck there, and then you ban 2 counters, and it feels like this hero is just unkillable. And if you look at the Yandex heroes, they essentially have 1 stun, and it's not a stun that you can really land on Puck because of the phase shift. So I love that ban. I think Yandex they're hitting.
I have a question for you, Aiden. How unlikely is it that there's the potential to flex the Nature's Prophet to mid and just give Nick a high burst damage hero?
It's been done before. Nisha used to play it quite a bit. I think even during that TI run that we had, he did play it mid every once in a while. So it is a possibility.
But is it good enough in this game? Do we potentially see it as we know the reason of a Nature's Prophet moving towards mid and the benefit it gives?
I could see it for something like a Tiny, potentially, which is not super high damage, but it gives you a starter, and then you let your Nature's Prophet and your Dawnbreaker be the true carries. You get a hero that can go in there, it pairs well with Mirana in lane. Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. And it's a cool adaptation, too. Nature's Prophet, I haven't seen it mid this tournament at all. My one worry is that it's blind, and it's a hero that can be counterpicked, and if you have heroes running at you mid, like Enchantress and Hoodwink, like do, if you die a couple of times, well, Nature's Prophet wants to TP elsewhere. He wants to fight on other lanes, use his spells to open up towers and attack other places. So if people come to you, the hero can have some big problems with that.
Yeah, so I think Nigma played Nature's Prophet mid with a carry Ember at some point.
Okay.
And it was really cool because it functions similarly to this Nature's Prophet plus Tiny, where they're going to have that same dynamic. But this Nature's Prophet, had it just been run as carry and was forced to follow the IO around, it would have felt very underwhelming to me because eventually he's just going to fall off a cliff. Whereas from the mid lane, his role becomes different. Suddenly he's more about opening towers, pressuring, and not trying to maximize his GPM.
Yeah, I think just conceptually this game on Yandex, they said very early on, we're going to be so tanky that you cannot kill us. And if you don't win the fight in the first second, we're going to win it over time. And Liquid has responded to that by picking heroes that provide a lot of damage really, really quickly. You have Tiny that deals a lot of damage, you have Dawnbreaker falling in, you have Tusk, you have an Arrow, and then a Nature's Prophet ult on top of it. So Liquid is essentially trying to break that by exploding a hero at the start of the fight, and then abusing the fact that they have a numerical advantage to keep snowballing these fights forward. So for that reason, I think the Tiny conceptually makes so much sense. There's no other hero in Dota that one-shots you the same way Tiny does.
Yeah, it's a very logical and purposeful draft. I think it's actually super cool. The Index proposes a problem like this, and Liquid says, okay, here's our solution to the problem. And then you put it into the game and you test it and say, all right, is your solution good enough for this problem? Have you solved the proof?
Yeah.
I do see one thing that might become an issue, and I'm not sure if Windranger necessarily solves that or if it puts more of a hindrance to it, is Nature's Prophet wants to be around the farm, around the map a lot farming. Dawnbreaker as well, they kind of want to be by themselves. Is it almost either too greedy, or is there an avenue in which we could see them getting picked off without having that backup from Liquid in moments?
And I think it depends on how the lanes go, honestly, and how the pace is set. But I just need to comment on this CJ IO. This is so funny because they dodged the, okay, carry to carry IO Nature's Prophet matchup. I'm just going to play a different role. And CJ's like, no, I'm on your lane. I'm playing IO versus you, and I'm going to be your problem, Nisha.
This is his 12th hero now at the International, adding another one to his hero pool.
Yeah, this is super interesting. I think it's a lane that IO should be pretty happy in. If you're not pressuring IO early, then Cyril farms really fast, and he gets his levels super early, and he relocates elsewhere. And he can also have Ench come to mid, so I think it's a cool pick. My biggest question is, can Chira Jr. actually play it? Because this is a specialist hero, not a hero that any schmuck can play.
I absolutely agree. I think that is the biggest question mark. Because from theory standpoint, this idea is really cool. Windranger doesn't die as quickly to the Tusk and the Dawnbreaker. She has the ability to Windrun, which dodges the attacks, so you don't take the bonus damage. And they've solved kind of like the laning issue, but now it's become like a skill check. Can Chira play Wisp? Because I think if he can, they're in a good position to win this game.
What makes it so different when playing an IO mid compared to playing it carry?
You get a lot more levels. But you also don't have a hero naturally with you that you're paired with and tethered to all the time. And so I think there's that extra level of IO expertise needed because you need to know, when do I go to side lanes, when do I farm, and when do I fight, compared to on carry, you kind of just autopilot fight and press relocate, whereas mid, there's a lot more decisions.
All right, well, it's a lot of fun in the draft that we've been given right now. A plot twist right towards the end, but we're going to see just how confident Liquid's coach is in their draft as he's standing by with Tsunami.
I think he's very confident because Blitz, I was getting ready for the interview. They didn't even finish picking Windranger and you already walked out of the booth. What's up?
Usually during online games I do that, and then I kind of forgot that we're at TI. And so, I don't know, it's like not going to change anything I've done. I've 23 picked, and, you know, do I tell my team anything different now that they pick Windranger? Like, they got us, guys.
There's no world where you'd have been like, oh, wait, actually, let's not do the Nature's Prophet Tiny swap. Let's keep Nature's Prophet as carry, or you were set no matter what?
No, I think at this tournament, something that I've really learned is you got to have faith in your ideas and you got to do you. You can't think too much about what the enemy team can do, or else I think it just gets in your head.
And then in terms of having faith in your ideas, you have been here before. 2 years ago, you were getting ready to go into your playoff bracket and then win the whole thing. Last year, polar opposite, not making out a group stage. What's the vibe right now with you and the team?
Oh, I mean, we were talking about how it's been 2 years since any of us have been able to play on this stage. And, you know, I got pretty emotional because Tofu was like, hey guys, I'm really proud of how we got here and stuff like that. And it means the world to me. And, you know, when you win TI, you just think to yourself, like, life's going to just keep cruising and stuff. And it was a really big reminder to me that this game it's not like a right, it is a privilege. And I hope that everybody remembers that and treats the game with a lot of respect because, you know, for sure, I thought that we were just going to cruise and keep being the best team ever. And, you know, life comes at you really hard. And, you know, I don't really have many years left in this. And I just want to, like, take it in and appreciate it.
Well, let's still appreciate the moment together. Blitz, good luck on game number 1 as we send it to our casters.
Thank you very much there, Neil and Blitz. Some great words there from Blitz coming into this series. It should be a fantastic one. And you can tell Liquid, obviously with their run for the group stage, looks like they're really locking in and taking it serious. They had a fantastic run. Yandex is a little bit shaky, but the potential from Yandex, as we've seen through the season, is pretty scary. So if they start to step it up here in the main event, they're going to give Liquid a run for their money.
For sure, and I have to be pointing out that this is a bit of like the only rematch that we do have, I think, from any of the teams, right? This is the only time that we are having in this tournament so far, a team playing against each other for the second time. So the last time we did see Liquid come out ahead. Curious to see how this one's going to go, because a lot of teams, a lot of players have been talking about this Io Largo disgusting kind of combo where you have just infinite sustain inside of the draft. Liquid's approach, just like the panel was talking about, is overwhelming burst. Everybody bursts.
I mean, yeah, both. When you look at the side lanes from Liquid, it's honestly the dream sort of setups for a mid-Nature's Prophet. Yeah, I love the mid-Nature's Prophet. I want to see more of it. It is a risky one to do, because if you start moving around the map too early, and you can lose your lane pretty hard. Nisha, I'm sure, he's not going to do that. He's going to be very sensible with his early game movements. But the potential for early movements are huge, because both lanes, you've got these duo lane setups that are absolute killers, right? Already the aggression coming out from Boxy and Ace, looking to secure that first bit of blood, but won't quite get it. Malady will live, able to sneak away. But you can taste it. Liquid, they're going to be hungry for the kills. On the side of Yandex, though, they have got some pretty nice slippery laners, right? They've got the heroes ready to sort of sustain through that. You look at this bottom lane, give them a few levels, and both these two, the Hoodwink, the Wind Ranger, they're going to be slipping about. It's not going to be that easy for this kind of Dawnbreaker Tusk lane to set up the action. Yandex, they've responded well.
Yeah, responded well. Liquid does a lot of control, though. On top of just having the burst damage, that's something I am looking at their draft with, is much easier for them to just approach these fights, approach just initiating as well, too. While you look for Yandex, it's a very different approach in general for everything. Like they were talking about panel, right? Long team fights, having to bait a hero at first, throw the Largo in, maybe the Enchantress to force some spells. Liquid is just going to be go, go, go. So excited to see how this one's going to go down. Excited to see how the lanes go. And if this Largo, if this Io is going to get together and become that unkillable duo with all the heals.
Absolutely, yeah. The group up from Yandex, it's going to be a question, as you say, who kind of gets to that point first? Are Yandex going to be able to build to this stage where you can't kill them, or are Liquid going to be able to build to the stage where their overwhelming burst and aggression and initiation is too much for Yandex to group up?
Chira?
Going to get hit by a snowball. Is he going to quite reach him? No. Creep Wave comes in. He's got the tether at the ready to get away from Boxy.
This is, I'm very curious about this lane as well, too. Just like Quinn was talking about, Chira has played, what was it, 12 heroes? 12 heroes at this point.
Yeah.
Absurd, right? So I think the question really is how well is he going to play it, and especially how well is he going to play it into such an aggressive lineup that can potentially burst you if you're not careful. Right now, lane's looking very good. 17-0, sure, some denies on Nisha, but like Quinn was saying, right? If this Io gets away with a good start, it can be pretty problematic because you get that reload online very early, you devastate the side lanes. But we do have to talk about that too, right? Global potential of both sides, quite high. Bottom, Boxy.
Oh, he's going to come in with a snowball. I don't think he's getting out of this one, though. As soon as he's going to be out of the snowball, Watson's going to look to try and secure the first blood, and he'll do so easily. Same time in the mid, Nisha's trying to go for Chira Jr. here with the tree. It's going to get him. He's into the trees, Chira Jr.
Got him.
We'll do it. Nisha did TP over just in case he needs to get a right click in himself. And we'll TP back to base to make sure he can get the refuel. So, kills
big deal.
Going down already in that mid matchup.
Big deal in the mid lane to get this type of kill, though. That probably could mean he did have to use the TP back, so it might take him longer to come all the way back.
Walk to lane.
But he might still be able to get that level 6 very early. And as we said, high burst potential, that Wrath of Nature with the double stun on the side lanes could be very strong and very aggressive in this game.
In the top
lane, another move.
This rotation come in. Flick to the side here, but the arrows lined up. Tofu, make sure that Saxa's not getting away.
Overall for Liquid, it's much easier to just make these moves, right? As we're saying, for Yandex, it's more of this group up, eventual just whittling heroes down to the side lanes, because they do have this very strong safe lane with the Wind Ranger and the Hoodwink. Boxy, he's just going to be moving now. They've accepted the fact, yeah, we picked the Dawn and the Tusk to be able to try to pressure that lane, but the fact that they picked the Wind Ranger, you just can't really.
You're not killing one.
No, it's too hard unless he literally just kind of runs up and dies on purpose. Even then, right, they have a stun to be able to protect. So now Malady, his choice is, where do you want to go? Now this Hoodwink has opportunity to also match the movements, and you can leave the Wind Ranger alone. So let's see how much he wants to do. He's looking for Boxy. He knows that Boxy's just looking to go through these gates and pressure the lanes. So good identification of that there from Malady.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be good enough, really, right? Just sort of keeping tabs on the Tusk movements. Not allowing Boxy to to get away with those sort of plays top.
Even mid, though, they do have to be wary, as we saw there. Boxy, well, not right now, but can go for those TP plays, can look for the kills onto Chira. But now, let's see those 6s. Chira's about to hit it. Nisha's about to hit it as well. Similar timing.
I mean, that's the thing. We're seeing fantastic efficiency from both of these mids, both backing up, making use very early on of the neutral camps here. Chira with the Spirits and, of course, Nisha with the Treants. So these two are going to get fantastic farm out of the solo situation. It's just going to be very interesting to see where both of their games go. Obviously, both heroes with huge global potential and many ways to read the map and make moves, which is going to be an absolute treat to see from these two players. Because when you have these sort of mid-heroes that have those sort of opportunities, as I say, it's very easy to sort of make a bad move that kind of snowballs in the wrong direction.
For sure.
So they've got to be on top of their game here, Nisha and Chira Jr.
Runes going to be the choice, because Io does want to play with the runes, right? So Nisha, he's going to double check with Treants. So probably going to prevent the fill-up from going out there for Chira Jr. Could restrict some of his movements here. And let's see what Sakso wants to do, because usually we do see as well the Enchantresses try to sandwich onto the mid lane, so maybe something they want to consider, but not the easiest, as we said. For Yandex, their lineup just isn't really about ganking overall, right? No. So it's just different what we're going to see. Liquid probably the one's going to be on the aggression in the majority of this early game. Finding another one.
Able to come across and help out Tofu to take Sakso down.
And another thing, I actually wanted to check with the build. I'm assuming Tofu's going to get a Vessel anyway in this game, right?
Someone's got to buy one, right?
You definitely want one versus all this healing. Sure, Largo can lick it off, but Arrow, connection, DM.
If they have enough to take him out with the tree coming close.
Not quite there.
Not going to catch him. DM will be able to survive. We're going to see Malady, see if he maybe gets lucky around the 7 minutes with Watson. We'll see what sort of response Liquid come in with.
Both contesting. Boxy and Ace are strong. Boxy's a bit low level.
He is low on the levels. Get the shotgun into the power shot. This is going to hurt pretty badly. Relocate's coming in as well. They want to contest this.
They got to sack it.
And indeed, they have to back away from this one. So Watson's going to be allowed to take away kind of wisdom. DM's going to secure his own.
He could be in trouble here. Power shot hits.
A lot of damage as well. They'll get the kill on top of it. I mean, the dream sort of move there from Chira Jr. Not only helping out secure the wisdom to make sure that Yandex get both of them, but also getting involved in a chance to kill off the enemy offlaner.
Nisha not feeling like he's in a position. I don't think he had the TP teleport available. At least he had the TP scroll, but feeling like he couldn't join it.
After that play he made against Sakso, I think it
was still on cooldown, yeah.
Yeah, level 1. Pretty long cooldown on that teleportation, 65 seconds.
Heads up move. Very nice play with them having this advantage in the bottom lane, being able to play versus Dawnbreaker. That's the reason they can go for this. Ace struggling to enter into this game in comparison to the opposing offlaner. See how he can catch back up. As we said, lots of global potential, but that does mean that it's going to stall out the 6 a little bit longer for that Dawnbreaker since he does get brought down. And DM, he can just farm super efficiently now at this point. His lane was good on the Largo. Now he just goes to the side camps that we'd love to watch these Largos farm, of course. And he can show up to most of these fights himself, too. A very responsive lineup that Yandex can go for to counter what Liquid wants to go for.
I mean, that's the thing. There's just so many heals. And honestly,
so much
pretty good aggression and offensive potential as well later down the line, right? There's a lot of spell amp between them. You got a Hunter's Boomerang later on from the Hoopwing. You got this Io with the Overcharge. You got the Cargo with the Bull Belly Blitz and the Croak. If they put this all together, it's going to hurt. They can live through it all and they can dish it back at you.
There's a lot of really cool combos that we can get to. Sure, there's some way later on as well that are pretty ridiculous. The Io plus the Wind Ranger, Focus Fire, level 25, etc. We'll wait down the lines to be able to talk about
But
that,
honestly, if the game duration is anything to go by so far here at this international, we might get there.
Yeah, some really, really cool combo plays. And something to talk about, too, is they do have these like pseudo saves on Yandex, but Liquid, they have the harder save in particular in this game, right?
Yeah.
They have the ulti from the Dawn, they have the Tusk Snowball, so we'll see in particular in the team fights how much that's going to actually matter.
Yeah, it's not going to be the easiest early on for Watson to sort of just focus fire someone and hope for the kill. There's going to be ways for Liquid to fight back and keep one another alive. Honestly, just both lineups very much kitted out to bring us some pretty exciting action.
I think we're in for an absolute treat. I think it's very likely we do get to that 50, very later stages.
Because both teams, they don't, well, at least especially on Yandex's side, they don't mind playing a bit greedy, right? No. You got this Io, he wants to be kind of max efficiency, getting the creeps, hitting the jungle, pushing the lane out, holding the tower. DM, he's happy to kind of get his big items online with this Largo and beef up, and Watson, he's more than happy to hit the creeps. Over on Liquid side, they do obviously have like the safe lane Tiny, You know, we do see these Tinies, they kind of want to get kind of these 2-3 items online before they do anything right. These Echoes into a Shadow Blade or into a Blink. But we'll see which way Mika is going to be going this game. I mean, which way do you think he is going to be going, considering that he obviously has this mid-Nature's Prophet that Nisha's playing, who's like this Maelstrom, he's going to be farming.
Yeah.
You got to have someone go in, right? And it's probably got to be the Tiny when you've got this mid-NP.
Otherwise, you're fully reliant on the Tusk. I think that's exactly what Mika has to do. Maybe take a slight back foot and let Nisha play that true carry from the mid lane, because they do scale. Absolutely on the side.
Because that's the thing. Could they also just say, well, Yandex is going to try and scale, we're going to outscale them, and can you trust in the tiny Nature's Prophet core to sort of outdo that of the IO Wind Ranger, or do you think that's a risk?
It could be a risk. It's just we don't know. I haven't seen the full tests in some of these games of how busted the IO Largo really can be when it's put together, because the healing gets to be absolutely ridiculous. But Liquid, if they have the burst, right, you get the Daedalus Tiny, etc., right, we'll have to see as it gets down later down these lines. The other thing, too, for Yandex, pushing buildings might be a little bit harder in particular. Liquid, you can see how they can set up for siege, right? Nature's Prophet can siege, Tiny can also siege a little bit quicker, so map control will definitely be pretty important in these next few moments. So Saksa, I like what they're doing down here a lot. Enchantress probably their best way of being able to push these towers early